In our first two parts, we uncovered some of history's darkest puzzles, like the vanished city of Troy and the chilling truth behind Mary Celeste. And just when you thought the mysteries of the past couldn't get stranger, welcome to part 3. Because today, we're digging even deeper into the shadows of history to reveal 10 more mysteries once thought unsolvable, but finally cracked wide open. Get ready to feel the chill. The Green Children of Woolpit. In the 12th century, in the Woolpit village of England, 2 children appeared out of nowhere. They were strange, and everyone was stunned by looking at them. Their skin was green, their clothes strange, and they spoke no known language. The news spread like fire. People covered miles just to have a glimpse of these strange creatures. Nobody had any clue whether they came from the underground world, or some alien ship might have left them on Earth. When people offered them food, they refused all except raw beans, fueling whispers of their alien origin. But here's the twist. Historians now believe these children were real human orphans from a nearby village suffering from green sickness, or hypochromic anemia, a disease caused by poor nutrition that can tint the skin green. Also, their odd tongue was likely a rural dialect. What seemed like proof of visitors from another world was, in fact, a tragic case of displaced children lost in famine and confusion. The Green Children weren't otherworldly, just victims of medieval hardship, their story immortalized by folklore. The Knights Templar treasure. For centuries, whispers of the Knights Templar's lost treasure have stirred the imagination. Gold, relics, and even the Holy Grail itself were said to be hidden away in secret vaults. Some claimed it lay buried beneath the Temple Mount in Jerusalem. Others swore it was smuggled to Scotland, or concealed beneath the soaring cathedrals of France. But here's where the story darkens. In 1312, King Philip IV of France, drowning in debt, turned against the Templars. Overnight, the mighty warrior monks were arrested, tortured, and executed. What happened to their supposed treasure? That's where legend takes over. People couldn't believe such a powerful order could vanish without leaving behind riches beyond measure. You think that's all? Not quite. Modern research shows the shocking truth. The treasure never really existed as the legends describe. Inventories uncovered by historians reveal no mountains of gold or holy relics, but rather land deeds, ledgers, and financial records. The Templars' true wealth wasn't glittering gold. It was their banking empire, the very system that kings relied upon. And when the Templars fell, that invisible treasure was absorbed by Europe's rulers, especially the very man who destroyed them, King Philip himself. So, the legendary gold hoard? Just a myth born to make sense of their downfall. The real treasure of the Templars was power, influence, and money that never sat in chests. It flowed like blood through the veins of medieval Europe. Joan of Arc's trial. There has always been an aura of mystery surrounding Joan of Arc's story. She was accused of being a fraud, a heretic, and a witch before being burned at the stake in 1431. However, history was plagued by the question: was she a political victim or genuinely guilty? When the church itself re-examined her trial centuries later, it found shocking proof of corruption. The verdict was influenced by political pressure from England, fabricated records, and distorted witness testimony. She was declared innocent and a martyr who had been unfairly slain in a retrial in 1456. The question was not whether Joan heard voices, but rather why she was not given justice. The fact that her death was a political assassination covered by religious law is now indisputable. The Princes in the Tower. Few mysteries chilled England like the disappearance of Edward V and his brother, Richard, in 1483. Locked away in the Tower of London by their uncle, Richard III, the boys vanished forever. Whispers claimed they were smothered in their sleep, buried in secret, or spirited away alive. But in 1674, bones of 2 young children were discovered under a staircase in the tower, matching the ages of the princes. Modern analysis strongly supports that these were indeed the lost princes, likely murdered so Richard could secure his throne. The idea that one survived is just a comforting myth. The reality is much more harsh. The Voynich manuscript language. For over 500 years, the Voynich manuscript baffled scholars with its indecipherable text and bizarre plant illustrations. Many thought it was an alien language, a secret code, or the diary of a madman. Some swore it held the key to lost knowledge, but nobody knew what it exactly was. But recent computer analysis suggests otherwise. The text follows patterns of natural human language, yet closer study shows it's likely an elaborate hoax, a meaningless jumble created to trick wealthy buyers. It's plants, composites of real species, stitched together to appear otherworldly. The Voynich mystery wasn't a gateway to forbidden wisdom. It was a medieval scam, brilliantly designed to keep its secret forever. And in that, it succeeded. The lost Viking colony of Greenland. Viking settlers in Greenland thrived for centuries, yet by the 1400s, they vanished without a trace. For years, people imagined mass slaughter, plagues, or secret migrations to North America. But archaeological digs tell a quieter, sadder truth. Climate change brought harsher winters, crops failed, and trade routes collapsed. Starvation and isolation slowly strangled the colony. By the time Europeans returned, the farms lay abandoned, their stone churches silent. The Greenland Vikings didn't vanish in mystery. They were worn down by nature, victims of an unforgiving climate that erased their presence from history. The real cause of the Black Death. For centuries, the Black Death of the 14th century was blamed on bad air, or even divine punishment. Later, rats and their fleas took the blame. But recent research shows the true culprit may not have been rodents at all. DNA testing of plague victims reveals Yersinia pestis, the plague bacterium, was spread far more by human fleas and lice than rats. Crowded towns, poor hygiene, and infested clothing turned people themselves into carriers. The mystery of how the plague spread so fast and far is finally solved. Humanity's own living conditions made it unstoppable. Magellan's death. Ferdinand Magellan, the man who led the first circumnavigation of the globe, met a bloody end in the Philippines in 1521. For centuries, stories of his death varied. Some said he was betrayed, others that he fell to Spanish rivals. However, his crew's eyewitness reports make the reality clear. Magellan went too far. He overestimated the local fighters at the Battle of Mactan and was killed on the beach. His body was never found. Arrogance, conceit, and a warrior leader named Lapu-Lapu, who refused to submit to foreign authority, were the causes, not treachery or conspiracy. El Dorado. The golden city of El Dorado haunted explorers for centuries, luring them deep into the South American jungle. Men drowned, starved, and killed in pursuit of glittering streets of gold. But archaeology reveals the myth sprang from a real ritual. A Colombian chief would coat himself in gold dust and bathe in Lake Guatavita, offerings glittering in the water. Over time, this spectacle twisted into the idea of a golden empire. El Dorado never existed as a city. It was a ceremony, magnified by greed and desperation. The mystery wasn't about finding gold, but about the human hunger for it. Salem witch trials possessions. The Salem witch trials of 1692 remain one of history's darkest chapters. Why did young girls scream, convulse, and accuse neighbors of witchcraft? For centuries, theories pointed to hysteria, vengeance, or even genuine demonic forces. But science offers a chilling explanation: ergot poisoning. This fungus, found in rye bread, can cause hallucinations, paranoia, and convulsions. Combined with religious fervor and community tensions, it ignited mass panic. The witches were victims of both biology and belief, destroyed by poisoned bread and poisoned minds. The Salem mystery wasn't supernatural at all, but tragically human. And that wraps up part 3 of our journey through history's greatest mysteries finally solved. We've now uncovered 30 out of 40, but the last 10 are coming in part 4. And trust me, you don't want to miss how this series ends. So hit subscribe, tap the bell, and get ready for the grand finale of 40 historical mysteries resolved.